No. They got smoked. They got cooked. If it was a battle, if it was the smack URL, we would say they got 30. They got 3-0. Like this. What Jada Kiss told them is 25-2. Like you had a couple joints in there. It's 25-2 already. Like, I don't know which battle you was looking at. With the verses I was looking at.
No, well, what I'm saying is, it's not about the fact that did the Locks win or lose. What I'm saying is, it wasn't like you look at the crowd and it was that determinative. In an actual battle, one-on-one, the crowd will let you know very quickly when they're like, nah. But we're still talking about two of the greats that represent hip-hop, that represent the establishment of hip-hop music, and they were still enjoying themselves. So you can't just say, oh, I looked at the crowd, and one was going, yay, the other was going, boo. That didn't happen.
I did enjoy when Jim Jones played Certified Gangster, and I did enjoy, when they finally went to the ladies and said, well, we can get it on tonight. But like Kiss said, it was too little too late. They had like 20, like Kiss and them dudes had like 20 other joints that was smoking.
Why can't I see your face though?
And so while Kim was over there, I get computers puting in the root of the tutor, nobody wasn't feeling. You can look in the crowd. You might want to check it out again. You can look in the crowd. Nobody wasn't feeling that.
What's up, M. Dome? What's good?
Purple City Bird Gang and all. Nobody wasn't feeling that stuff.
Look, man, you gotta put your camera up a little bit, man. I can't, or you sit back or something. I can't see your face. There you go.
Nobody wasn't feeling it. But
no, well, I'm gonna tell you what. There's one thing that YouTube. Wait a minute. Before we go in, we've been talking. You know what to do if you want to hear about what we was talking about before this started. We're gonna put this up on Patreon. You'll see the behind the scenes and all of that. But right now, let's just say hello, YouTube fans. M. Dome, what's good? Late Night Hip Hop Live. We back to the debate format. We're gonna be debating, man. We gotta talk about this Locks. We gotta talk about Dipset.
Shout out to Swizzy, Big Swizz. Once again, shout out to Timberland.
Yeah.
They put on a heck of a show. That one right there was big for the culture. Like my man, like Bruce said, you got two mega groups that's coming out of New York, both spanning from as far back as the 90s all the way to now. And it was epic. It was done at one of the biggest venues in the world in Madison Square Garden. It was epic. But I don't know what Bruce. I'm not sure what Bruce, which part of the show Bruce caught, but it was clear. It was clear and decisive. It was clear and decisive.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're talking about, YouTube, is Locks versus Dipset in the square, Madison Square Garden, historic New York site, historic world site, historic groups that come from New York, representing the different parts of New York, representing labels on their own, some of them, Dipset, representing some of the most eclectic rappers, underground or above ground. It was outstanding. But before we even talk, I don't agree that it was all that noticeable who won during the show, as far as the crowd standpoint. I think we both agree who won the battle. But we'll get to that. Real quick, can I just get your assessment? D-Boy Slim, listen, my name is Bruce Lively. You are?
D-Boy Slim.
Welcome, everybody, to the Basement Debates. This is the Basement Debates, man. Late Night Hip Hop Live. This segment is called the Basement Debates. We're going to debate tonight.
This is my face when I'm wondering what which verses Bruce saw.
They can't see your face. That's the problem. See, you got to sit back. But wait a minute. Before we get to that, Calicoe versus Hittman. We promised the people, so we got to be people of our word. We promised the people we would give a review of some sort, an assessment, if you will, of some sort.
Well, tell them the truth. How it was your fault that we didn't cover the show yet. Just go ahead and tell the people the truth, then, man. Tell them how it was your fault that we didn't cover the battle that RBE put up here.
Who did what?
Yeah, man, just telling people the truth, man.
Nah, B. Listen, see, it was both. That's the problem. Like we both was missing each other all week. We both was missing each other all week. I was willing to come in here and be cordial, and you wanted to say that. No, that's not the case. That's not the case. You was busy, and then I was busy. But we're still people of our word. We're still men of our word people. So, real quick, if you just could, real quick, D-Boy Slim, give me your assessment of, let's start with Daylight versus King Los. We'll go to Calicoe in a second. What you got?
That was a good card that ARP and the whole RBE team put together. Salute. Y'all keep doing your thing over there. It doesn't appear that they're trying to keep up with URL, but it appears as though they're holding their own in the whole battle arena. And that was a super card. I enjoyed the battles that were put together. When you speak of Daylight versus King Los, that was a battle of the wittiness, the battle of the pins, the battle of manipulating words, as opposed or in contrast to what you typically hear when you talk about gun bars and street talk and things of that nature. They went in a whole different direction, which is expected when you see a Daylight and King Los battle. And it was everything. It was everything to be expected. I spoke with Bruce prior to watching the battle, and he was saying, well, I'll let Bruce tell you what he was saying, but yeah, if you thought it was a little too witty or a little too much talking about the pin game or whatever, that's fine. I think it's refreshing when you see battles like that, where they purposely and deliberately not trying to go with what the norm is, or not trying to, be like the average typical battle where everybody has a gun that's bigger than your Uncle Joe, and everybody sold the most dope on the streets, and they'll kill your mom and stuff your baby in the trunk. I think it was a different type of battle. It was set to be a different type of battle, and it took on the form of a different type of battle. And I enjoyed it. It wasn't short of wordplay. It wasn't short of wittiness. It wasn't short. It didn't lack, what we thought that it would have, and that's substance. But like I said, minus the gun bars, minus the typical wordplay that you hear in a battle.
Yes, I agree 100% wholeheartedly. That was the case. King Los versus Daylight, they're going to get nothing but witty bars. I did wish that King Los pulled out a little bit of left field for him. Because his regular is left field for other people. But I wished he could have brought it back to something different. When you realize that you're sparring against an opponent that's doing the same thing as you kind of have to realize how to go southpaw. And he didn't. And I think it was those little bits of experience, that little bit of maturity on the stage in the battle arena is what gave Daylight the eke out the win. If anybody says either one of them won, it's a debatable 100%. But because this is a show where we say what we mean, I'm going to say Daylight eked out the win, and I wished he didn't, because I am a really big King Los fan. I want to see him more. I want to see more of him in the battle arena. But I think he relied on trying to match wits as opposed to going southpaw and differentiating himself, which is something that an experienced battler would do. When they see things going too parallel, they find a way to make that difference. Whether it be the stage presence, whether it be they turn to the crowd, or whether it be they talk about smack, or whether it be whatever, they might throw the freestyles, whatever it is that you do, he couldn't because he wasn't at that experience. On the other hand, you got nothing but wordplay from both of them, and it was just a great battle. Daylight wins it by inch, a milli-inch. M. Dome, I hear you. We're gonna talk about Dipset versus Locks in just a second. We just gotta fulfill what we promised. We gotta fulfill what we promised. Who won? Who won? Who won?
If I had to pick a winner, I would have to say Daylight. In layman's terms, what you realize is that you'd be hard pressed to try to out unorthodox Daylight, and that's what we seen. Where the type of talk, and the type of time that King Los is on. Usually, for the average typical MC, it would be so unorthodox that it would be hard to get your footing or hard to get your rhythm going. But because that's who Daylight is, you kind of play right into his thing. Like you're not gonna out unorthodox Daylight.
Right. And not on that stage. Not on the battle stage.
That's what you run into, is that somebody that's just as or more unorthodox than you are. So
okay, good. Done. Next. Calicoe, Hittman. This is the last one before we get to the Locks, people. Hey, wait. M. Dome said, ACH, I had Dipset. I know that wasn't smart. LOL. Jada bars. So he obviously put his money down on Dipset and realized, like the rest of us, that they didn't make it work. Although I have different reasons why. We're about to get to that. M. Dome, don't leave me. Real quick, Calicoe, Hittman, what you got?
That was the battle of the Titans.
Yes.
It was a battle for respect.
Yes.
As far as Midwest.
Yes.
As far as the Midwest is concerned, no disrespect to the guys coming out of Chicago, but we know who's put in the work over the years, and that's Calicoe coming out of Detroit, and Hittman coming out the Loop. And although Hittman, I would say...
Appreciate you, Daniel.
I would say Hittman put on a good performance. I think Calicoe was a little more prepared, and his performance may have been a little better than Hittman.
Let's be honest.
To steal one of your terms, or to steal one of your words, eked out, I believe is what you said.
Eked out.
If it was somebody that squeaked the W, I would have to go with Calicoe on this one. He just seemed to be a little more in his bag. He had, rebuttals or whatever that the battle called for. He seemed to be there and dancing with it.
Okay.
So I would have to go with Calicoe on this one.
I go with Calicoe. What he did do that he doesn't usually do was he decided to stop doing gun bars and actually go with just insight, with just wordplay, with just what they call talk to you bars, right? It's not very regular that I hear that from Calicoe. And because he did that, because you could obviously see that he prepared something special for Hittman, it showed. Hittman came like he always came, and he's lost the last 3 joints in a row. To be honest, let's all be honest. Hittman has lost 3 times in a row with this Calicoe thing. And Calicoe actually...
Who was the third one?
He lost to Mook, right?
No.
Wait, who's the last one to hit Mook?
The last big battle he had was Cassidy.
He lost that. Right. Cassidy beat him.
Most people say Cassidy won that one.
But wasn't that Hittman with Mook?
No.
Who was that just battled Mook? With the colored eyes?
Tay Rock?
Tay-Rock. That's right. Okay, so fine. He lost 2. This is 2 in a row. And Cassidy beat him. You know, which was a feat in itself because Cassidy's lost his last 2 before that. So all I'm saying is Hittman sounded regular, Calicoe sounded different, and he did that on purpose. He did it strategically. He came in with a plan to dismantle this guy, and not just spit gun bars or not just be the coolest on stage. And his performance, his stage performance, might have been better than Hittman's, and that's what Hittman is supposedly known for. That all in all, I don't think he eked out a win. I think he won pretty decisively. But it's still RBE, y'all. RBE. You guys check them out. They stepped up the game, and they're not trying to do what URL is doing. They're not in direct competition. What they're doing is carving out their own lane. I think you said it perfectly before, D-Boy. And it's working. It's working. You get your King Losas in there. You get these big battles to headline it, but they also have a number of guys that you want to know the name of, that you see coming in, who may have a previous career on other places or even in the popular genres, in actual hip hop radio, that come in and do their work, and they're building a brand that's worth watching again. RBE did their thing. Hittman lost. Calicoe won. Daylight won. Unfortunately, King Los lost. That's my dude. Now let's go to the Garden. New York City!
That was big, man. That was big. They had Michael Buffer. They actually had Michael Buffer, the world-class announcer who usually announces the boxing matches. They had them announce Dipset and the Locks in. I like the whole show, as a whole, in totality. Like, I like the whole show. But if we're talking about, who did what, yeah, the Dips got smoked.
Dipset versus the Locks, people. Dipset lost, but I mean, I have a more nuanced understanding of what happened on the stage.
Let's get in depth about it.
First of all, Daniel Chapisky says, "Who do we see coming up?" And I'm guessing you mean in the battles. And I'm gonna say, real quick, if we just look at what happened last URL, I have somebody's name coming up, Daniel, and I'll bring that to you. But as far as Dipset versus the Locks, man, why would you come there without knowing your lyrics? Why would you come there in this stage of hip-hop without knowing your lyrics? Dipset. I don't know that, well, the Locks have better songs, sure. But you had one of the craziest dudes on stage I've ever seen. Who is that, D-Boy? Who is that in the gray suit walking around? Who is that? Is that Uncle Murder or something? Who is that?
Oh, man, he goes by the name of Freaky Zeke.
Oh, yeah, Freaky Zeke. So Freaky Zeke...
If you've been following the whole Diplomat from day one, he is a day one diplomat.
Yes, he is.
Some may say he's more of the hype man. Probably Cam and Jim Jones' early childhood friends. Some may say he's security. Some may say like Bruce said, he's just the crazy man wilding around on stage.
He's the hype man on stage.
If you go back to Old Boy, if you go back to the earliest Dipset videos, that's what he did. That's who he is. That's what he's about. That's what made Dipset.
Okay. Here's the nuance that I have. Because you, honestly, being from there, I see you got your Mets shirt on to prove a point. The Mets hat on. I feel you, fam. I know you want to get into this. So let me just say my piece, my nuanced assessment. Number one, what we love about Dipset is the attitude. is the um is the movement, right? We love the attitude, the aggression. We love, or not even aggression. We're talking about Cam. We love the coolness. It's kind of like listening to Snoop. It's like, well, does he have the best lyrics? No, but his voice, his coolness, his flavor, right? This is the thing that we loved about Dipset. This is what we love about Dipset. Unfortunately, that is not a match for lyrics and stage presence. That doesn't cover up those things that you love, what you hear when you hear that flavor and you hear that charisma from all of them. Jim Jones, all of them. That's what they're about, the whole Dipset. It doesn't match up to lyrics and stage presence, which is what the Lox had. I'm talking about Sheek Louch had more stage presence. But he was in there, and not because he's rubbing his belly and walking around like Freaky Zeke, but simply because he's interacting with the crowd, and then he turns back around to tell Dipset about themselves. Like after everyone, he's the one. I remember you thought that you kept telling me that it was Jadakiss that kept walking up into Dipset's face. It wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. It was Styles P and Sheek Louch. Jada would go to the corner, and those two would come up into the face like, don't you forget what just happened. And by the way, stop playing your album, your lyrics, and giving these people of New York, these people with a history in hip-hop, a what you call it show. What is that? A karaoke show.
That was actually Kiss that said that.
No, Kiss kept saying that. But what I meant is that's who went up in the face. Kiss kept saying that. But he made sure he was facing the crowd. He was 100% on point with the crowd. He let Sheek Louch, he let Styles P go back and point their fingers and talk to Dipset and then leave. Either way, all of that charisma, all of that crazy style that we saw, all of your yellow diamonds and purple leisure shoots, like, it doesn't match up to lyrics and stage presence. And that's what Lox had from song 1 to song 21. Period. They won. It's obvious. The last thing I'm going to say is, in the crowd, though, I'm tired of hearing you tell me, D-Boy, that everybody knew that it was a landslide and this and that. Like, nobody was booing. Everybody was enjoying every song because there's still two staples in hip-hop, two staples in New York. And you can't say that Dipset didn't have bangers that weren't being felt by the crowd. That's all I'm saying. That's the only thing we disagree on, is that somehow the crowd was all against Dipset and all for the Lox at some point in the show. That wasn't it. I didn't see that. I didn't see that at all. Your turn, fam.
Again, I'm not really sure which verses that you had on, but for me, it was easy to see what the crowd was reacting to and what they wasn't. And what they wasn't reacting to was whatever selections that Dipset, whatever songs that Dipset selected. I would say from about the beginning all the way up to the middle of their whole show, the crowd, they were not connected with the crowd. They wasn't.
For people watching right now, I'm just checking my Patreon so I can answer one of these questions people are asking. Keep going, bud.
What did it for me wasn't the fact of, and you pointed out the fact, which Jada pointed out during the show a lot of times, was the fact that they were rapping over their own lyrics. That wasn't what did it for me so much. Their place selection was garbage. I mean, I'm just going to be, I don't know any other way to put it. You're talking to somebody, and Bruce could verify for me. I probably used to ride around with a hundred Dipset mixtapes in the backseat of my car. You're talking to somebody that's probably heard all the Dipset tapes from the one when they had the minks. All of them had the minks on the cover, all the way to the Dip Immunity, Hell Rail, J.R. Ryder. I mean, I followed it all, right? Purple City Bird Gang, all of it. All the way to Jim's Bird Gang, all of it, right? They had better songs. Cameron, as a soloist, had better songs. Where they got outdone badly is that Jada was in his bag. And when I say Jada was in his bag, meaning the mixtape, grimy street joints that we know and love Jada for, he brung them out. He didn't just rely on the P. Diddy hits and the hits that you heard on the radio. No. Niggas then started something. The mixtape joint with him and X. Bunch of the Locks joints that you may have forgot about. They was on it. And they was on it, they A game from start to finish. Now, did Dips have a couple joints here and there that may have connected that we remember? Sure. But it was far and few in between as to what the Locks would do. And I would even say the ratio was probably to every 10 Lock songs, Dips might have came with one that you felt. A lot of that stuff, I mean, Jim got up there and did 848 with the one a joint that might have came out a couple of years ago with I think Meek Mill or something. Nobody was feeling it. He did Purple City Bird Gang. That was a joint that was done on a mixtape with Uncasa. Nobody was feeling it. Did set like nobody, and it's and not for nothing. Like I said, it's not because Diplomats didn't have better joints, but I don't know who chose to bring out that playlist or whose idea was for those song selection for that night, but it was terrible. It was terrible. I think people wanted to see Early Kid, and let me just make this distinction. For the kids who were too young to remember Cameron, not Cameron with the Dipset, but Cameron,
the Purple Tape,
Children of the Corn, Cameron that came out with Mace Murder, Cameron that had Harlem World on his arm along with Mace. That Cameron there is the Cameron people would have much rather see. And I'm gonna say it, like the Cameron that became who we knew with the Dips. He was the boss of the Dips. And he wrote rhymes like he didn't have to write rhymes anymore. And at that particular time, with the money that they
Rooter the Shooter, Rooter the Tutor,
yeah. He was not
A+B.
That was the Cam we didn't want to hear. That was the Cam that we much, if you was gonna do that, you should have let Hell Round and them other dudes that used to hold down Dipset come up there and get vicious with it. If not, then, Rooter the Tutor and computers get the putin. No. Nobody wanted to hear that. There was a disconnect with the crowd. I'm not sure what Bruce saw, but there was an obvious disconnect with it. So bad that they had to switch gears towards the end of the show. And if you notice, and it was something that I had said early on, like maybe they need to, just like Bruce was saying, being too parallel with your opponent is not good. So maybe you need to switch gears and go with the ladies. Go with songs that the ladies might connect with. Well, they waited too late, and when they decided to do that, Jada kindly reminded them, we got those too. We got those joints too. So when Santana said, what y'all think, we in jail or something? Why y'all keep coming with these hardcore street joints? Y'all don't like the ladies? Jada said, hold, wait a second. We got Grammys. You forgot about the joint with Mariah?
Woo!
I said, oh, it's over. Get him out of here.
Yo, M. Falme Dome says.
I said, nah, they lost, man. They lost.
M. Falme.
They lost on the whole level. They lost on all the. They lost when it came to the ladies. They lost with the street joints. They lost. They lost with the beat selection. They lost, man. They lost. They lost when it came to talking trash. As it came to talking trash on stage, they just lost on all levels. On all levels that night. And so it wasn't just stage presence. It was song selection. It was the talking trash. Like they lost. When it came to having joints for the ladies, everything was just better on the lock side. Everything was better.
Let me tell you something. Well, first of all, M. Falme Dome says, where was Hell Rel? J.R. Ryder, 40 Cal. Where are these people? But you know what I think what really happened, bro? I think that the Locks took the opportunity to take it seriously, and give a show. That's why their beat selection was better. That's why they had obviously prepared what songs they wanted. The whole time, it felt like the Dipset was still trying to prepare. Like they kept cutting out in the middle of the mic. They looked back at the DJ like, what's happening? You don't know when we want you to cut out? They would both stop. He would stop rapping. The DJ would stop the track thinking that he was going to say his punchline. And they just had to put the mic on the crowd. Like, I think what happened was the arrogance that they showed, that same swagger that we talk about with Dipset, that arrogance, is the exact reason why they didn't care. They went in there thinking that this is our home. Shut the F up.
Right.
No, you have to work. You have to work. I think that they thought they didn't have to. They would show up and the crowd would just give it to them.
We got on more jewelry than y'all. Yeah, they like, I agree with you. I look at it like they looked at it as a regular show. Like if you go to a Dipset show, that song selection is probably a song selection that they use at their regular show. The Locks took it as this is a battle for respect of New York. This is something that the fans want to see. They want to see our earlier catalog. They want to see the street mixtape joints. They want to see it.
Yeah. It was so gross. Daniel, M. Falme. When the Locks came out with when your boy Jada came out with the mixtapes,
who shot you?
He threw him in. He threw him in so beautiful.
He threw him right down after the Who Shot You freestyle. I said,
it was done. No, that was genius. That was genius. And that's the thing is, look, check it out. M. Falme Dome just asked another question. Why didn't Jim Jones do Ballin' or Everyone Jones? I don't know about Everyone Jones, but I know Ballin'. I don't think that was Dipset. That's Jim Jones was kind of doing his own thing by the time we talking about Ballin'. Am I right?
See, the versus thing is, it's not about doing it, who did it collectively.
Yeah, but this arrogant thing
Jim Jones was still a part of Dipset, and he performed Ballin', but it was just too late in the show.
Yeah, okay.
He performed Ballin', but it was just too late.
I probably missed it by that time.
Yeah, that was one of the joints that actually connected with the crowd. The crowd want to see you put on your best. Bring your best joints up. Bring your best, because believe me, Kiss threw everything at him except the kitchen sink.
Everything.
Kiss threw everything at him except the kitchen sink.
I like what Daniel has to say. He says the artists/performers give everything every show, because you never know who's a new fan experiencing for the first time. But I like that. Now the thing about that is, I was just about to say, when you said he took it like a regular show, I was gonna say that's a problem if that's your regular show. I think hip hop has there's a side of hip hop that has come to believe like me showing up is the show. It's turned into my stuff is playing behind me. You know what I do. I'm gonna play the songs that I think I like, or that that maybe was a hit one time. You have no crowd research. You have no idea of what you're gonna be doing, who's doing the backups, when you're gonna be stopping, what the DJ's supposed to be doing, how you look, where you walking on stage. You know this, D-Boy. When we used to hold these rehearsals down here, it was for a reason. Like, we know how we're walking, who's walking behind me, what we're saying when we're saying it. What's the inflection I use? And I have a feeling that this arrogant facade or this arrogant...
I agree with the premise that
this arrogant aura...
Like I said, they were super cocky.
Me showing up is the show.
They were over arrogant and super cocky as they usually are. And they got schooled. They got schooled there in New York, right there in their backyard, right there in Manhattan. A couple of blocks from where they grew up at. Like, they got schooled out there. They got schooled as to when you're doing a show like that, it's not just a regular show. It's not just, so you can't just run through the playlist that you toured for years and say, oh, Dipset, whatever, and that's the popular song. No, especially New York. I mean, you kind of disrespect New York when you do that because it's like that's the Mecca. We know all the mixtapes. We followed all the mixtapes. We followed the movie, so we know what's what and what's what. Like, yeah, it was a debacle. It was a debacle on Dipset part. And
here's where we divide ourselves. Debacle, no. What it was them same dudes with them same that same arrogant talk, that same nonchalant attitude they have on the mic, showed up on stage. It wasn't the worst. It wasn't what's his name? All gold every. It wasn't what's his name coming to New York and getting smacked down. You know, it's not Tekashi 6ix9ine. It's not a debacle. It wasn't who am I talking about? The dude who came from Atlanta trying to tell New York that they fell off.
We could argue about how bad of a performance it was.
Yeah, debacle is a harsh word. And then you said something to me which made me realize, like, yo, man, we got to stop this overemphasizing one show. You told me that we have to all of a sudden change up the top 10 and put Jada in there. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Now,
you might want to read your social media of late or scroll through your social media because it's not just me saying that. It's like, and it's not like, and let me just get this, let me preference it. It's not like we thought that Kiss was a terrible MC or
no.
He didn't know who Kiss was or that he had bars, legendary bars for years anyway. So let's not get it twisted. But Bruce will tell you as our friendship has gone through the years, every once in a while, Bruce will tell me, you know what, we might need to update that list.
Okay.
Who's who as far as top 10 or whatever the case. Or D-Boy might tell Bruce, like, yo, you know what? Somebody might need to come up the list or somebody might need to go down that whole time.
For those of you who want to know,
as dudes still are creating music and are still adding on to the culture, just like LeBron James or anybody else in any other sport, things can change upon performance. So, like, you know, it's not like we didn't know that Tom Brady was the best quarterback before last year, but him going to another team and then winning another Super Bowl, that has to put him way ahead of the pack at that point. Like, and that's all I think we're saying about Jada Kiss is that, yeah, we knew he was up there anyway. Like, without that performance the other night, you would still, when top MCs come up, Jada's name would come up anyway. But after that performance, it's like, yo, well, it's time we start looking at who's who then, who's top 10 and who's not. Like, you know.
And if you who want to know the actual basement cumulative top 10 list, I'm gonna put it up on Patreon so everybody knows. We've done this many times. We've done this for 3 years. We have an ongoing top 10. We have an ongoing top 50, actually. And we change it from now and then. I'm going to put up the old one. And then you tell me, who do you take off to put Jada on there?
And
Stop playing.
Not for nothing.
Stop playing. Like,
to be quite honest with you, maybe, you know, as harsh as it may sound, I don't know if if we put Jada up a notch or we take Cam down a notch.
Well, yeah, I would take Cam down a notch because I've always felt like Cam's swagger was what was important in his raps, not his rap. I never thought that he was a great lyricist, but swagger counts. That's why Snoop Dogg is up high on the list. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the reach that Snoop does, so swagger alone without the reach, I don't think he belongs that high on anybody's list anyway. I never thought that. And if you look at our list, he's down in the 30s. So he's right where he should be. Jada, on the other hand, moving up to a top 10 spot. Let's just relax. Like, you talking about Big Pun? What do you mean? What? Who? What? Talking about what? Jay? What do you mean? What? KRS? Like he's taking out KRS? What are we talking about? Who are you taking out? What, Kane? Big Daddy Kane? Andre 3000? Who's better than Andre, right? I know you can. Who are we taking out to put Jada there?
I'll tell you what. Where's Buster at?
Jada's way better than Cam, you feel me? We all know that, and we knew that from before, is what I'm saying. That's not a surprise. It was Cam swagger that we loved, and be honest.
There was a time when Cam was one of the more vicious MCs coming out of New York. As I said, I just think that things changed as he was able to accumulate more money and have more success. I think his pen actually got lazy. It's the Cam that wears he's laid back and you paying attention more to his swagger, more to his words. It's different from the Cam that came in where he had style but aggression on top of style. Like there used to be a time, like I said, there used to be a time Cam was aggressive. You don't, and it's funny, I heard you switch terms earlier to say, well, charismatic, this, whatever. There was a time when you listen to Cam on, he was aggressive when he was spitting. As though everybody was up there.
Yeah, I know the old Mace mixtapes, man.
Right, and even Mace back then, he always had the laid back style or cadence, but he was aggressive at one time. And I say aggressive like they're not just sitting on them beats riding, as the bars go by. Nah, they punching and laying it down flat every bar, every sentence, every word, every syllable. It was hard. And like I said, Cam was one of those that used to spit it with aggression. I just said all that to say that there was a difference and there's a distinction from the Cam that actually you would hear around with Joel Santana and the rest of the Dipset as he became the boss or whatever. And like I said, gained more radio success. Although to Come Home With Me was like the perfect blend of who Cameron was, which is why I think it was accepted the most commercially. It probably did the most numbers commercially. Well, obviously signing with Rockefeller, but I think that was the perfect blend of who Cameron is. But like I said, as time went on, I think his pen got lazy. His style and delivery became a little more lazy and laid back.
He became boss status. He had a cigar and a drink.
You would expect from a man
all the time.
Who's the boss and getting more money.
So, Daniel, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this too. We kind of are going left field because Mfalme Dome is bringing this stuff up, and that's what we love here, man. It's all about. He says, since I was talking about who are we taking out the top 10, which you still haven't answered yet, because I don't think he belongs there yet. He said Big L and Nas would kill Big Pun. Now, this is what I say. No, they wouldn't. They're all three of those people are about equal. Nas ekes out the win because of such a historied career. What do you say to that? D-boy.
I like that. What's his name?
That's Mfalme. You already know. He's got another name too. What's the other one? Something TV All Out Attack. That's him. You know he's been down for the past 3-4 years, bro. You know who he is.
Shouts out. You know your hip hop.
Yeah.
That's straight up. That's from me to you, Chad. You know your hip hop. ironically enough, I was just in a conversation the other day, and somebody was telling me they thought that Big L was actually better than Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Or somehow that Jay-Z took Big L's style or whatever. When you start talking about that fast style and fast delivery.
Jay-Z does every style, so I'm not even sure what that means.
I tried to explain that. But that, the Midwest used to execute that fast style as well.
My Tribe TV, all out of tech.
But that's not a bad assessment right there. If somebody were to tell me that, I would have to look further to disagree with that, or to see otherwise. That's not a bad assessment. Nas the Pun, even when Pun was here, Pun, I don't think Pun himself, maybe Pun being cocky, I don't think Pun himself would tell you he was ahead of Nas.
No, but there's a respect there because of we know what Nas is and what he means.
The pen, as far as with the pen, now a lot of people get caught up, and this is where I start to disagree. A lot of people get caught up in how somebody's saying the rap. Right?
That matters.
So a lot of people start to measure. A lot of people start to measure how they're saying the rap versus what they're actually saying. And this is where you get into debates about the Eminem. This is where you get into debates of Tech Nine. Right. So this is where those debates come in. Oh, you see how he's saying it? Look how he just said that. I've had debates where people tell me Tech Nine was better than Rakim. And I'm like, I had to listen to him and try to understand what somebody means when they say that. And it's clear and it's obvious. It's the same thing what somebody means when they say Eminem is the best hands down. There's no way possible anybody could be better than Eminem. And like I said, it's okay because you talk when you say that, you're talking about a style. There's no way that somebody who's rhymed, said verses backwards, told stories about going back to Africa. Like you hard pressed to say somebody has put more substance into a song than Nas, and not broke the monotony of the song by staying in pocket with a smooth delivery. Like you'd be lying to yourself if you said that there was somebody that did that better than Nas. But if you say there's somebody that delivered the verse or delivered his rhyme in a faster execution,
not even faster, okay. Also better. I mean, also on point. Like, it's not just about speed. We're not talking about Twister.
No,
Pun was.
I'm talking about. I mean, it's not sloppy.
No.
We're talking about the same sentence with Nas. So obviously, we're talking about
Pun also. But check it out though. Pun used syncopation. There's other things that you're looking at. For me, as a drummer. So here we go.
Pun was nice with it.
Right. So it's where my sticks at. Hold on, people. Hold on. Check it out. If I may. Pun, this is fast. That's fast. This is syncopation. Right? Like, I can do the exact same thing and not make it musical. I can do this. All of a sudden it's musical. He used syncopation, he used timing, he used rhythm while being fast to turn it into. He was a pioneer, bro. So we have to take that into account. No, he didn't talk. He never could talk as much poetry as Nas could. But Nas could never get that. Well, I don't know about never. He's still dope. But I'm just saying, if you're comparing them, you're not just gonna dismiss Pun and say, well, nah, he rhymed fast. That's not what he did. He pioneered styles.
It's not a dismissal or a knock on Pun. But like I said, primarily when you're talking about Pun, that's what we're talking about. How he executed the run, which was a faster style. I mean, no matter how you try to make the distinction of what he did with the style is that he rhymes faster than the average. And that's cool. Like I said, we're talking about many different facets or many different variables, like you said, when you talk about Nas. So it's like I said, I think Nas just, well, like I said, with style or whatever, if you want to give that the pun, cool. And then what? You know what I'm saying? Because it's not just style that makes up an MC. So it's like when you count up all the other variables that makes up an MC, then you know what are we talking about? But
so
then now the Big L, I like the Big L comparison, believe it or not, even better, because Big L had that fast style.
Yeah.
And could slow it down. And could speed it back up in the same run.
I think the problem is we only got one album from Pun. Wasn't there only one? And then everything else kind of like was add-ons.
True, same thing with L.
Yeah.
One, and by the time the second one got here, they was gone. Same thing with L. I actually think, if for my money, if I had to compare the two, I would give it to Big L, to be honest with you. I would give, and you know, that's an easier comparison because they both, you know, unfortunately was cut down short. So it's like you comparing his shortcoming or his short career or only 2 albums to his shortcoming and only 2 albums. And, you know, comparing both bodies of work. And it's funny, both of them worked closely with Fat Joe. L obviously was digging in the crates, and then later on you had Pun with that whole Terror Squad. But they both worked closely with Fat Joe. For my money, I would have to give it to L. I mean.
So this is what I'm saying is.
Like with L, he could make a smoothed out, laid back song, or he could get with that fast style if you want to get with that. We seen him do it with Jay-Z.
Yeah.
We seen him do it with the best of it. It's like you just said, it's clean. Like it's in pocket. It's along with the beat. Yeah, for my money, I would have to give it to
So
L.
this is what I'm saying.
And Pun was a murderer.
I still,
don't get me wrong, Pun was a murderer.
No, murdered it. Listen, but what I'm trying to get across to Mfalme, and you let me know if I'm saying this correctly, is when you say somebody would kill this other person, it means that they're that far ahead. Like, there's no way, there's no time ever that Big L and Pun would be on the stage and someone would go, he got killed. Never. Never, ever.
That's not what I'm saying.
Like they're two. So I also think we have a top 10 between the both of us. We've come together and made it.
Now that's a fact.
Big L and Nas is above Pun on our top 10. But ain't no killing nobody. Like in any given Sunday, Pun could beat one of them. Can beat one of them easily. On any given Sunday. We just, over the years, over the time, over what experience we've had, over what they've given us, we say Big L and Nas is above Pun. But ain't nobody killing nobody. On the stage, on any given Sunday, he could smash either one of them easily.
For what it's worth, when Pun was here,
nobody wanted it with Pun. How about that?
Nobody could do what Pun was doing.
Nobody wanted it with Pun.
For what it's worth, no. As a matter of fact, I could still, that verse, that in the middle of Little Italy, little did we know that we riddled the middleman who didn't do diddly. Like, that verse he spit is still classic. Like, that one verse, that's still a legendary verse, right? Just because of, like you said, how he breaks everything down like that in that fast barrage.
It's visual. It's visual. Listen, this is what we're talking about, the paintbrush that you say Nas and my man Mfalme said, that paintbrush that Big L has, Pun has that, and then the syncopation, and then the ability to enunciate quickly.
Yeah.
And so like, you can't say that, bro.
Nas could have said,
you can't say that.
And it would have never been the same. It's not a legendary verse until you say it like Pun, to where he's like you said, pronunciating those syllables like that and making it bounce from one to the other.
Wait, say it again. Say it.
Little Italy, little. I said, whoa.
Yo, he painted the pic in about 2 seconds. He painted the picture. You had the weather. You knew how it felt. You had the weather, the clothing.
Italy, and it was monster. It was gangster.
It was gangster. You saw everything. He painted the actual picture with words, and he said it better than you. He said it better than you.
That's a fact.
Come on, man.
Fact. Now, Pun was a murderer, man. Shouts out to all of them. Rest in peace to L. Rest in peace to Pun. Pun was a murderer, man.
Yeah.
Pun was a murderer. He was a serial killer on the track.
Ooh, man. Wait. Whoa, I got a song on that's not part of one of my beats. Ooh. Hey.
But I'm
a little live. Hey, this is for you, Daniel. I know you probably know this band named Live. I was doing a drum cover for them, and they were just playing. So let me go back and not let YouTube take my money. Back to Team Box Cutter Beats. There we go. Go ahead, bro. Mfel Dome, I feel you, man, but nah. He says Nas has the greatest album ever in hip hop, Legacy. That's true. That could be true. It still doesn't mean that he's just smashing Big Pun. You know, I don't know how else to say. Like,
yeah,
he can do everything that Nas can do. He just
overall, he's a better MC than Pun, but smashing Pun, nobody is smashing.
There's nobody killing Pun.
To be quite honest, and that's what makes Pun. That's what makes Pun Pun. Because, like you said, on any given, if you put all of them on the stage, I guarantee you, niggas don't want to see when he do that in the middle of Little Italy verse. Like you don't want to be on the same stage when he do that verse, or when he does verses like that.
And that's just one thing that we can remember. Let's talk about the fact that he would do that in an entire song. 2 minutes 30 seconds.
That's just the iconic verse.
Yeah, like 2 minutes 30 seconds of extreme illustration said with perfection on enunciation over a fast, slow beat or whatever.
With the whole Latino accent and all of that, with the Puerto Rican accent.
Come on.
And all of that. Like,
you're not beating that, man. You're not smashing that, that's for sure. Now, over a career, you've earned a higher spot in the top 10. But you're not.
Two classic albums. That first album, that Capital Punishment was hard.
Now, Capital Punishment.
He had a classic album. That was hard.
I'll tell you what. I'll say this. Capital Punishment might be a better album than Big L's first joint. It might be. Let's be honest. That Capital Punishment.
You might got one there. You might got one right there. That's a whole fact.
Show me I'm wrong.
Song by song. I'm speaking more of his body of work with the mixtapes. But yeah, you might be right with that one. You go album for album, song for song. That Capital Punishment, yeah, you might be right with that one, Jim.
I think we've strayed off the point, but I like that. I like that.
I might have been premature.
I like that.
Saying that Kiss belongs in top 10, maybe top 15.
There we go. Now we're being more reasonable. Yeah.
Which you probably should have had Kiss in your top 20 anyway.
You needed. Now he was probably, I think, because we gave special credit to sales as well. So people like Eminem, who have amazing skill and extreme visibility, and culturally significant, like, and what do we call it? Syllabalistic prowess. Like Eminem was like at 11 or 12 or whatever, because history plays such a big part of it. And I think maybe people like Jada may have been a bit lower than he should have been. I don't even know if Jadakiss made the top 20. We still looking at people like RZA and the Snoops. not RZA, Jizza, excuse me, the genius, Method Man. Like, we still had these people who had this extreme amount of popularity that changed the wave. I think that we may have been wrong there. I would be top 15, top 18, Jadakiss for sure. Top 10, we're just reaching a little bit.
That sounds about right. But overall, I think everybody can agree the Locks had a victorious night. It was a W. It was a W for the whole New York, but it was definitely a W for Rough Riders. It was a W for the Locks. It was a W for Swiss. You know, I posted, you know, Harlem had to take the L that night. Right? And
the W for Puffy again. Stop it.
Yeah. He definitely had something to say after the verses too. Talking about he knew that they was always he knew when he saw them.
Yeah.
They were the best group of all time.
Period. Wait a minute. I got something. We're gonna end on this note. This is the problem I have. M. Falme Dome, after all of that conversation, says to me, I never listened to Big Pun album. I'm gonna check it out.
Whoa!
What are we talking about?
Whoa!
How could you say such a statement without ever listening? You failed. You failed, M. Falme Dome. You have failed. What's wrong with you?
I say, well, I think Drew Brees is better than Pat Mahomes.
But I never seen the Chiefs.
Pat Mahomes play. I never really watched Pat Mahomes play, really. Like, whoa, well, now I wonder, that's probably why you think Drew Brees.
That's why you thought Drew Brees was better, man.
You never watched Mahomes play.
You heard the one radio song. You thought that was pun. Like, I'm not a player, but I crush a lot. Or whatever it is. Like, you thought that was pun. Oh, man. You should never said that, in fact. We gonna get thank you, Daniel. Every time M. Falme Dome come on for the next month, your name's gonna be Shane. Shane. We just playing with you, brother. We playing with you, man.
That was a good debate you put up, but
yeah, it's a great debate.
I would suggest you go look in the Pun's catalog and go do some homework.
I promise you, he'll change your mind. He'll change your mind.
Pun is legendary.
Legendary. Absolutely.
But it's not. When you talk Nas, you definitely talking top 5 of all time to ever rap.
Yeah, I mean, one or two.
It's not bad saying, oh, Pun is probably not as great of an MC as Nas.
Yeah.
Nas is probably one of the top 3 greatest rappers ever to rap. It is.
I mean, it's 1 and 2, maybe 1, 2, 3. Like I said, Andre, you know, and if you have a problem with me saying Andre in the top 3, just ask Jay-Z who his top 3 is, and he'll tell you Andre's number 1 above him. He said it.
I'm not sure you want to get into that.
He said it twice. I'm not
sure
so
we want to get into that this show, because I could easily say Rakim to you.
That's what's up. No, but that's what I mean is like, I'm not gonna be mad if you say Rakim, and you can't be mad if I say Andre. Like, yeah, like.
I don't know if you want to get into that on this show.
That's not worth it tonight, man. It's not worth it. It's too late, bro. It's too late. I don't want to have to bust you up with Andre right now. I don't want to have to bust you with Andre right now, man. Nah, man. So you telling me Rakim also produced albums and made beats? No, exactly. I don't want to hear it. Both. Well, now when we talk about Andre, we talk about both. That's the point. When we talk about Andre, you talk about both. When you talk about Andre, you talk about both. That's what Andre 3000, Daniel. That's what we're talking about. Producing.
If you say Bo Jackson is one of the best running backs of all time, you say, well, he played baseball too. Well, that's not what makes him one of the best running backs.
It makes him one of the best athletes. It makes him one of the best athletes. It makes him one of the best athletes. It makes him one of the best athletes.
That's all I'm saying.
It makes him one of the best athletes, is what it does.
That you make beats That's cool. That's what makes Kanye. That's what makes Kanye one of the best producers of all time.
Yeah, but he's not as good a rapper.
Never was put him in the top MC list.
But it's because he's not So you saying? Wait a minute. Hold on. You saying 3,000 raps like Kanye?
You said producer.
I said he's one of the best rappers of all time, and he produces.
That's a different list.
Kanye might be one of the best producers, and he raps. There's a difference. There's a difference. Stop it.
But if we talk about the best rappers,
thank you, Mr. Dome.
He out-raps Rakim because he makes beats too.
No, he out-raps Rakim because he out-raps Rakim. Rakim is right number 4. Look, man, it's Jay, Nas, Dre, Rakim. After that, you got your Kanes and your Big L's and your Big Puns, whatever you need. Jay, Nas, Dre, Rakim. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
You gotta relax.
As a matter of fact, let Andre come out with another one. He's passing Nas. How about that? How about them facts?
So people been saying that for 20 years now. If he comes out with the next one, he'll be Prince.
Exactly.
Listen, man.
I'm stopped. I'm done. What are we doing right now?
Had balls, she be king. You know what I mean? We can say that on right. The truth of the matter is, this guys that have bodies of work. T.I. has a body of work that's impeccable, man. You can't say, oh, he had the one joint. Because if we talking about Andre, you talking about Outkast.
How about this? We're gonna say something.
Outkast is the best group. That's fine.
This is the one.
You start saying Andre is over Rakim, it's like, whoa, man.
Is Andre is he top 10?
What are we doing here?
Is he top 10?
I'm not so sure anymore. T.I.'s last joint was a stellar.
Now we put T.I. in the top 10. We in a major upset last year put T.I. in the top 10.
Did you hear the joint that he did with his son? Did you hear the joint that he did with his son?
Yes.
All right.
That was awesome.
Andre don't got one.
I'm actually gonna cover that in one of my drum covers. I'm gonna cover that. But
Andre don't got one of those.
No, just stop. I'm done, man. Now you just lying. He don't have none of that in Southern Playalistic Cadillac music. There's none of that. In Southern Playalistic. There's none of that in Southern Playalistic Cadillac music. There's none of that.
You don't got one of those.
You're lying to yourself, bro. You're lying to yourself.
The joint with his son.
You're just trying to. You know what you're trying to do? You're trying to gaslight me. You're trying to get me hyped. You're trying to gaslight me. I'm not going to allow you to gaslight me.
The joint with his son.
I'm not going to allow you to gaslight me. I'm just not.
You see?
Aquemini?
At some point,
I know how
big of a fan you are with Andre, but you have to be honest with yourself at some point. He put in more work. He put in more work. Can we agree on that?
People, please help. People, please.
As an artist, as an MC, has he put in more work?
As an artist, he has better rhymes.
You see how you don't?
He has a better rhymes. Does he put in more work? Lil Wayne put in a lot of work. He's not above Andre.
Is T.I.'s body of work classic?
Yes. We put him in the top 10 last year. Much to people's chagrin. Much to people's chagrin. People was mad. What you're saying
is that his one album trumps T.I.'s whole body of classic work.
No.
That's what you're saying?
He doesn't have one album.
That's what you're saying?
He has 6 albums.
That's what you're saying?
He has 6 albums.
If he has 6 albums, that means he has 3 albums. Because he split those.
Now you're just making up words. This where is that in the Webster's dictionary? 6 is 6.
He has one album. And technically, he has one album.
Come on, man.
He's a soloist.
Nah, but guess what? Andre 3000, just like Genius, from Wu-Tang, has none of his own solo stuff, but he's in our top 20. Just like
not over Method Man.
We put him over Method Man.
You put him over Method Man.
Well, I mean, it was a consensus. So we had to both agree that we had to both take losses and gains. You said this, we both, we struggled, but together we agreed. Like, what about Scarface? Because he's with Ghetto Boys and he only has one album plus the digital one that he just came out with. Is he better than most? Yes, he is. So you can't just go by that. Come on, man.
You can. As if you're talking about T.I., who's had 2.5 decades and still going. You can. That's why I said you can't put him over Rakim.
You know what? This conversation is going nowhere. I knew I wasn't gonna allow you to let me to gaslight me into this conversation.
He's better than Grand Puba, or even if you say he's better than Busta Rhymes.
Stop.
If you say he's better than Busta Rhymes, I understand what you said. When you start saying he's better than Rakim, like, whoa.
Well, I mean, that's why they're both right there. They're both right there. Right there.
Let me ask you something.
Pioneers.
Let me ask you something.
What's up?
Is he better than Knowledge Reigns Supreme?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The thing is, when you're a pioneer, you get major respect.
Did you just use the word pioneer?
Yes, I mean, Knowledge. He's a pioneer. I'm talking about him.
Oh, wow.
When you're a pioneer, when you're a pioneer, you get major respect. I think if we're all very honest with ourselves, if you're in the top 10 out of all of that respect and pioneering and soul searching and teaching that you've done, which cannot be denied. If you were to just put a rhyme up against him and anyone else in the top 10, there's probably a rhyme that could beat Chaos. I mean, he's very simple, very 1 + 1 = 2, and he used it perfectly. I love it. But let's not, I mean, he's where he is because of intelligence, because of his definition, his defining of hip-hop. Did he rhyme better than Kane? I don't know about that. Does he rhyme better than T.I.? I don't know about that. But his 1-2 style has a lot more set in it than most other people, and he belongs where he is. But yeah, Dre, I mean, it has evolved. It's evolved. Henry Ford invented the assembly line for the car. I don't know. I'd still rather my Mazda today than a Model T Ford. It doesn't mean it's not great. I'm just saying it's better. My BMW is probably better than the Model T Ford. It doesn't take away from its greatness. That's all I'm saying.
Chevrolets is still here, man. And to be quite honest with you, Dodge is still around, man. And Dodge is still making some of the best cars out there.
Yeah, but I mean, the first Dodge wasn't the best. I mean, we still love the old Dodge Charger, but a new one came, and it's better.
The truth is, man, the Dodge Challenger is some of the Challenger Hellcat, some of the best cars on the road.
Yeah, but not the first one. This one, today's one, right? No, I feel you. KRS-One from '88 is not Andre 3000 now. That's all I'm saying. Like it's not. That's just not of 1999, 1996, 1997 Andre 3000. No, he's not. But he still belongs in the top 10. But Andre's above that. Come on, you know that.
I don't, and that's the sad part. How you're so convinced that is really baffling. But other than the fact that you probably listened to Andre more than you've actually listened to KRS.
No, well, don't say that. I listened to KRS growing up my whole life. All of it.
The truth is,
I
as
bought
an
the
MC,
album when I wasn't old enough to. I had to sneak and buy it.
As an MC, first of all, KRS throughout the 80s and 90s has made himself more accessible as an MC than Andre did. Like, Andre was consistent. Like, when the Outkast thing was going on,
what does that have to do with rhyming, fam? Like,
because you only have a limited body of work. You have a limited body of work. Like, it'd be hard for me to say Calvin Johnson is the best wide receiver of all time. He only has a limited body of work. You got
Family.
the 5 Outkast albums and the one Speaker Malone joint.
Family.
And you told me he's better than Rakim and KRS, who has 2.5 decades plus.
Family.
That's 2.5 decades worth.
Family.
How is that possible? A classic, not just average music, but classic.
It's just who's the better rhymer. If you're in the top 10, you're in the top 10.
When their contemporaries were out, the Daddy Kanes, the Cool G Raps, the Biz Marquies, the Public Enemies, when those were out, it got no better than Rakim. It got no better than KRS. So now, Andre, sure, when Outkast was out, they was the best, you know.
It got no better than Outkast.
Hands down.
What do you want from me? Like, I don't know what to say. Like, they're all great, bro. Like, doesn't mean that I'm dissing KRS. I'm saying Jay-Z might be better than Big L. For many reasons. I'm saying Big L might be better than T.I. for many reasons.
Tom Brady.
I'm saying Andre is a little bit better than KR. For many reasons, that doesn't mean that either one of them is bad or doesn't belong in the top 10. Let's just be honest, though. Like, come on.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, what are we being honest about?
All right, I'll tell you what. We'll bring this back up another time because right now I don't have any. I'm not prepared for the debate. Yeah, I'd have to just go. I need to get the songs. I'll just go ahead and. I'll go ahead and get the songs for. We'll do the comparison. We can do it. We got hours usually. It's not a problem.
You know, it's nothing. Like, you're going to bring up the 5 Outkast album, and that's all. That's what I'm saying. And the freestyle that he did where he said Tucky shirt in, and that's that. Man. Like,
what? Come on. I'm done. Yeah, you're right. You're right, bro. You're right. You just go ahead and erase Southern Playalistic Cadillac music, where he was walking around with the screwdriver at the MARTA station, seeing whose car he's gonna jack to get home. No, I feel you. That's not Andre. You're right. You're right. You're 100% right. You're gonna talk about Andre?
Officer, overseer. Nah, kid, you. Nah, it's different, man. It's just a whole different thing, man.
And with
like,
that, people.
That's like how you said with Daylight and Kid Low. That's the thing, like, you're knowledgeable until you run up against knowledge reign supreme. Until you're real knowledgeable until you run up against that knowledge reign supreme. Man.
If I'm honest, knowledge reign supreme, quite frankly, has been showing himself to be a bit of an ass lately, and his knowledge. We'll talk about that another time.
Now you see?
We'll talk about that another time. We'll talk about that another time. We'll talk about that another time.
We're on a whole different topic.
Yeah. We'll talk about that another time. People, I guess the entire point of this show is to tell you, go listen to the music yourself. Come up with an opinion on your own. Daniel, Mfalme Dome, you guys have asked many great questions, peered into the depths of this hip hop thing. I hope you guys go and check out these albums, check out those battles, Daniel, that I was talking about, the new up and coming battlers. This is what it's all about, man. We extend our knowledge in ourselves, and then we extend it to other people. That's how we grow. We call it building. We used to call it building in the 90s. I'm bringing it back. Team Box Cutter. We trying to build a community, man. What you got to say, bro?
Appreciate all the love and support out there. We'll be back. Yeah, I thought that was an epic performance and show. One of the greatest I've seen. Shouts to Dipset. Shouts to the Locks.
Shouts to Swiss Beats, man.
Yeah.
Timberland. The people who put this stuff together, man. That was one of the great ones. And they keep getting better. They keep trying. Every artist plays their part in upping the ante. I loved it.
Hip hop all day is us. That's where we at with it. Yeah, we got more dope shows coming up.
We're gonna be doing some new formats as well, people. Like, we're gonna be getting more into the news. I know we love the debate format, late night hip hop live. We're finding out our way through this new enterprise. So we're gonna be doing more news oriented as well.
And let us know. Give us feedback.
Give us feedback.
Tell us what you think. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what you want to see. Let us know. Give us feedback. Was there anybody out there that did think that Dipset won? Was there any lost souls out there that really don't know hip hop or seen it different? Let us know. Give us feedback. I'll at it.
With that, peace, people.
We out.